Okay, we'll get started. There'll be a few people come in yet, I think, with the slick roads, but Marvin, you want to get us started?
Good morning. Good morning. My name's Ken Claiborne, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of this congregation. Welcome to all of you. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Elkhart is a welcoming community encouraging religious freedom, nurturing individual spiritual and ethical growth, and celebrating diversity and promoting a just and sustainable world. If you would like to learn more about the fellowship, please take a look at our website at uufe.org and join us after the service for our coffee hour. For the listening enjoyment of all, we ask that you, at this time, please turn off your cell phones or turn them to mute. Also, if you need hearing support, please ask for help at the sound desk. Thank you.
Just a couple of notes for Fellowship Life. There's a card on IB Island, if you haven't signed it, for Erica, that Dan's wife's mother. Her mother died last week. Or father, that's right. So that's for him, for her, for Erica. That's where I was thinking her. So please sign that before you leave this morning if you haven't signed it already. Also a reminder, see Ken Claiborne for gift certificates to Martin's, Kroger, or Aldi's for the food pantry. You can buy food and get those gift certificates turned in and buy the food for our food pantry. So that's an ongoing thing. We ring the gong 3 times, once for those who came before us and made a place for us. Once for those who are here now. And once for those who will come after us and build in the dream. We light the chalice this morning for wisdom. Wisdom we have hopefully gained as we grow older on this journey of life. We light this chalice for our communities, communities of family, communities of faith, communities of like-minded people, and virtuous ambitions coming together to spread our wisdom together to the outside world. Hear these words from an inspirational Buddhist quote. Every morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most. Hear these words from my youth. Every morning is Easter morning from now on. Resurrection and new life and new beginnings have the potential to happen every second of every day for the rest of our lives. May the light of this candle symbolize wisdom gained and new possibilities and commitment from that wisdom. Would you recite with me now the covenant as printed in your order of service? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Now let's enjoy. Wow, said the owl.
Wow, said the owl, by Tim Hopgood. At night, when we are feeling tired and ready for bed, owls are just waking up. Owls live in a nighttime world. They have eyes that can see in the dark. But this little owl was a curious owl. Instead of staying awake all night, as little owls are supposed to do, she took a long nap and woke up just before dawn. Wow, said the owl. She couldn't believe her eyes. The sky was a warm and wonderful pink. Wow, said the owl, as the yellow sun shone through the morning mist. Wow, said the owl, as white fluffy clouds floated across the bright blue sky. Wow, said the owl, when she saw that the leaves on her tree were green. Wow, said the owl, as the pretty red butterflies flew by. She watched them land on the bright orange flowers, which opened up in the warm sunshine. Up in the sky, the clouds turned grey and it started to rain, but the sun was still shining. Wow, said the owl, as a beautiful rainbow filled the sky with colour. The little owl sat happily in her tree and watched as the sun went down and the moon came up. The daytime is full of beautiful colours, she thought. But wow, said the owl, the nighttime stars are the most beautiful of all. Too excited to sleep, the little owl stayed awake all night long, just like little owls are supposed to do.
The kids can now go to RE. If you're willing and able, would you please stand and sing number 347, Gather the Spirit. The OWLS Connection. As I read your name, would you come forth, please, and grab one of these little sheets, and let's start over there in front of Jim, and just line up across the front as I read your name. Mary Adams isn't here, but she's been involved indirectly. Phil Campanoli and Janelle Crump. Just Janelle, huh? Okay. Yes, okay. Read for him. Joan Claiborne and Ken Claiborne. Karen Kripe. Ray Enfield. Jackie Friend. I don't think she's here this morning. Dave Geyer, a visitor for many weeks now. Thank you, Gabe. Gordon and Phyllis Hostetler. Kathy Lance.
There's not going to be anybody out here to walk.
Here, Kathy.
I'm going to be preaching in the choir.
Marvin Netherland. Mary Perrin. Pat Wiggold, I don't think she's here this morning. And Terry, if you want to join us, if you'd like to join us for the mission statement. I was going to ask these people to share if they wanted to a little bit about their experience with OWLS, but we're going to have a Q&A period after Terry's talk, so I'm going to save that till then. So if you got anything you want to share, do it then, okay? But I've given them all, this is not the whole mission statement, but this is what we read in our meetings and things like that when we're together. And if you would all read together as best as we can as a group, when I start, let's read the mission statement printed in front of you. Our mission is to improve the health and well-being of adults 55 and older through meaningful opportunities for service, lifelong learning, active play, and social connection. Thank you. This represents 10% of our membership already involved in OWLS, and that's fantastic. Thank you, folks. They can clap for themselves. You can keep it. No, that's okay. A place called community. In Parker Palmer's book, The Promise of Paradox, he begins the chapter titled, A Place Called Community, with a quote from the Austrian-Israeli philosopher Martin Buber. I quote, "We expect a theopathy of which we know nothing but the place, and the place is called community." What Martin is saying is that within community, visible manifestations of a deity are expected. He is, of course, speaking in the context of possibly a religious gathering or typical church worship service. I contend that what we may call the divine can be seen in anyone, including all those who gather in community and our faith family called OWLS, which we will be discussing this morning. This is what Parker continues to say about community in this chapter. There's 5 points he makes. How can I participate in a fair distribution of resources unless I live in a community that makes it possible to consume less? How can I learn accountability unless I live in a community where my acts and their consequences are visible? How can I learn to share power unless I live in a community where hierarchy is unnatural? How can I take the risks that right action demands unless I live in a community that offers support? How can I learn the sanctity of each life unless I live in a community where we can be persons, not roles, to one another? So we're attempting to consume less, be visible in our witness. There's no hierarchy in OWLS. It's very behind the scenes, but very much there, making it possible for all of us to get together. We're supportive, and we can be people to people. Life's issues and circumstances many times require that we rely on someone other than ourselves or immediate family to find healing, comfort, resolution, or solution. Those who do not have the privilege or benefit of belonging to such a group or community are really missing out. Parker goes on in this chapter on community to say that The assumption that community is increasingly hard to find is well-founded. It is difficult to find or create relationships of duration and reliability in our kind of world. Well, he's not met the OWLS Club. We need to inform Parker about OWLS Club. For you members and friends here today, hear these words from our UUA, the governing body of our community. As we strive to meet this moment, we want to anchor ourselves in communities and relationships that foster resilience and liberation. To do that, we need to cultivate readiness for the climate disasters and political threats that folks are already experiencing and those yet to come. We believe that sharing our gifts with one another is a way to live our shared lives, values of generosity and equity, and a core part of our religious practice. Our congregations and faithful communities want to be ready to support one another and our neighborhoods, including those who may be at risk. And I want to end these comments with the mindset of the indigenous people, specifically the League of Iroquois, and there's 5 tribes in that Iroquois: Mohawk, Onigdas, Onondaga, Cayigzas, and Seneca. We bind ourselves together by taking hold of each other's hands so firmly and forming a circle so strong that if a tree fall upon it, it could not shake or break it, so that our people and our grandchildren shall remain in the circle of security, peace, and happiness. It's now time for our morning offering. We normally share our offering with a nonprofit with like values and goals as UUFE. This week's offering will be shared with Woodlawn Nature Center, right across the woods. It's now run by the Elkhart Parks Department. As we prepare to receive the offering, let us reflect on the words of Unitarian Universalist minister Reverend Rebecca Parker. Our vocation is to love the world. Through our own giving, we love, we heal, we transform, and we bless the world with our gifts. Give generously. Thank you. I knew I'd forget it when we were all up here in a nice line, but that lovely lady that just played our song had a birthday yesterday. Let's sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to you. She's playing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Martha. Happy birthday to you. Wonderful. Terry Kaser. Terry, I've known you only for several months, but it seems like forever. Karen and I just said the other day, when is this going to end? No, we're just kidding. When Karen and I started going to the OWLS Club, the first thing we volunteered for was the Jeffrey Rosen program, and we helped in a small way in that event with Terry. Since then, I am now on the newly formed advisory committee, of which Terry is the chair, and in talking to him about today's service, it's been lots of fun getting to know him better. Terry is an Elkhart native and has lived in Elkhart all but 5 years of his life. He has 4 children and 5 grandchildren. Terry is a born-again Christian and has been members of 2 different churches in Elkhart, and he and Cindy are currently looking for a new church home. Cindy is on regular child watch duty with their 2 children, 2-year-old grandson, 5 days a week, all day. Terry spends 8 to 12 hours per week volunteering at OWLS Club. Terry, we look forward to your comments this morning. Thank you.
This should be fun. First of all, it's like preaching to the choir with so many of you being OWLS Club members. But Steve asked me if I was ready for this morning, and I said, yes. Do you need a place to put your notes? I said, I don't have any notes. And when I was speaking to Kathy earlier, I said, I don't really prepare for these presentations. And I'll tell you why. When we read your unison covenant this morning, it was pretty clear to me how similar that is to our OWLS Club mission. So it's those kind of moments that help me know what to say. Your fellowship is a service, is a fellowship, is a community. We've created some of the same things in OWLS Club. And I will tell you a little bit about OWLS Club, its conception, what it's doing right now, what it has done. And then we'll have time for some questions later. First of all, where does the name OWLS come from? OWLS is older, wiser, life-living seniors. OWLS. That's kind of the foundation of OWLS Club. OWLS Club was formed about 2.5 years ago by members of a local church, the church that Cindy and I belonged to at the time. They based the foundation of OWLS Club on their experience in their church. The church was struggling, to say the least. As they struggled, they tried to find out why they were struggling. It dawned on them after a lot of self-introspection, I guess, that they had lost a whole generation of members. The whole generation was young adults, 35, probably up to 55, and their children. Where did they go? Well, by the time they looked around, it was too late to do much about it. But they spent a lot of time in the next couple of years focusing on trying to attract young adults and their families back to church. During that time, we didn't spend much time focusing on our seniors. And there were seniors who let us know that. One lady in particular would say to me whenever she could grab a hold of my elbow, "When are you going to do something about the seniors?" Well, the church was not able to respond to that in a meaningful way. Members from our church saw that, felt that. One night, several of them got together for a dinner and talked about the senior population in Elkhart. How could they be better served? And they came up with the idea, now it wasn't, just spur of the moment, of an organization, of a community, which would be serving seniors on a daily basis. A place for seniors to come, enjoy each other's company, which we do a lot. You can tell from the fellowship that we share here among you. There would be a chance for continuing education, some senior learning opportunities, for games, for projects, and just a community that was focused on the needs of our members. That first group who founded OWLS Club were 7 people. We have over 1,200 members now. Now, think about that. 2.5 years from actually the first meeting to think about the group to today, over 1,200 members. That means that there's definitely a need out there to be met. We have, of those 1,200 members, about 250 to 350 are active in one way or another. There are people here today who come to OWLS Club to play euchre. I don't know them because I don't see the euchre group. They're kind of a shadow OWLS Club. But they enjoy getting together. And in the spirit of OWLS Club, there are also other things then that they're invited to. Last Friday night, we had a chili cook-off. I don't know how many people there, well over 100, maybe 150 came to enjoy 20 different types of chili. We just had a great time. We also do trips, day trips. We're in the process now of beginning to shift some of our focus outside of the walls of OWLS Club to the outside. We've not done much in the way of community service, but it's part of our mission statement. Now that we have a fair number of members, we have funding, which was a struggle the first year or so. Even though it's a not-for-profit and it seems like it should be easy to run an organization like that, it costs money. And attracting enough money to put OWLS Club on a solid footing was a real chore. But we've managed that. We have some funding from Elkhart County Community Foundation. They've stepped up to help us. And we are getting donations from other organizations as well. In our outreach, we're probably going to be looking at a lot of things that are important to this fellowship. How do you reach out to others in your community? to other not-for-profits and say, how can we share our memberships? How can we share our mission? How can we share our enthusiasm? And we're in the process of doing that. We are beginning to look at collaboration with organizations like the Tolson Community Center in Elkhart. A lot of you are familiar with Tolson. I was familiar with the old Tolson, which was a youth center. The new Tolson is not a youth center, it's a community center. And they're serving a wide community. One of the problems they have is they're not attracting a lot of seniors. OWLS Club has a lot of seniors. Is there some way we can help each other? Well, we're exploring that right now through a group from each organization who's meeting together. We also are looking at organizations like Lifeline. If you're not familiar with Lifeline, Lifeline is a 60-year-old youth ministry. They're in brand new building out on Prairie Street. They used to be downtown on State Street. They are a religious, a Christian-centered youth organization. I was part of that organization at one time, and I saw the value to their ministry to at-risk young people in Elkhart. So I'm thinking, well, there's an organization that's outwardly Christian. OWLS Club is secular. They deal with youth. We deal with seniors. Are there opportunities for us to collaborate? Well, we're exploring that also. There probably are things we can do to help each other serve our community better. We'll be doing some outreach, fun things in the next several months. We've had a couple of anonymous donors step up and offer us donations to do outreach, and they're kind of donor driven. In other words, the donors had an idea in mind. They will give us X number of dollars, and they would like us to spend that money in a particular way. Fortunately, both of these donors had outreach projects in mind. What do those look like? Well, we're developing them right now, but one of them will be a takeoff from something several Elkhart area churches did last fall. An anonymous donor gave them $5,000. That money was divided among Northern Indiana churches. They asked those churches to give the money to some of their members and asked the members to do good with that money. Are you familiar with that? It was a wonderful thing to do. OWLS Club is going to do the same thing. They're going to focus more on doing good for seniors, but it's a chance for our members to give back some of what they've gained from their membership in OWLS Club. We're going to ask them to each take $50. You decide what you do with it. Maybe there's a person in your neighborhood who's lonely. Maybe you can reach out to that person, take them to breakfast, take them to lunch, send them some flowers, go visit. That's one possibility. Maybe you take your $50 and go to McDonald's, buy 5 $10 gift cards, and distribute those where you think they might help improve the quality of that person's day. Doesn't have to be a homeless person. We prefer that you not spend it on your grandchildren, but there are plenty of opportunities if we think about opportunities to share that gift with other people. There are opportunities within OWLS Club to do some of the same thing. We can't forget about our members. Since we have 300 active members out of 1,200, we have 900 that we're not all that familiar with. We don't know about their needs. But we know that in that 900 members, they have needs that we should be learning about, we should be paying attention to. So our board of directors is working constantly to find opportunities to serve seniors and to serve the community. This is one way we serve the community. Just sharing with you what we do and enjoying these opportunities and invitations like this from this group. We certainly appreciate it. There's another anonymous donor that has given a gift with some thoughts attached. That person would like to also sponsor an outreach that would be more actively involved in helping seniors. There's a fairly sizable gift attached. They would like for OWLS Club to form a group that will administer that gift separately from OWLS Club budgeting. It won't take money from OWLS Club, but they would like that group to find needs and find ways to meet them in particular. One possibility would be that within that group we sponsor, in OWLS Club, a group that is able to physically help seniors with homekeeping tasks. In other words, we have a lot of single people in our organization, a lot of widows and widowers. We hear fairly often from widows, I can't do the things around my house that my husband used to do. Is there a way OWLS Club can help? Well, there might be. Now, the reality is we're all old. So there are limits to what we can do. We're not going to send out a van with ladders on top and fix roofs. That doesn't make much sense for a group that's 55 and way up. But there are things that we can do. If you are a widow, have you ever had the situation where you say, the light bulb in my garage burned out, I can't get up to replace it? How simple is that? Well, to some people it's not simple. They don't want to get up on a step ladder. They shouldn't. We can help do that. So that's going to be another outreach that we're going to take a look at, things like that. Programs to help seniors get involved. We found through a very simple thing that we do that kind of grew out of hospitality. It's called Coffee and Conversation, similar to what you're going to do after the service. Coffee and Conversation at OWLS Club takes place 2 mornings a week, Monday morning, Thursday morning, from 9 to 11. We just get together in a little area in our meeting space called a cafe. We just drink coffee and talk. Out of those talks have come suggestions for many of the programs that we have right now. One of the things, my job in OWLS Club is to sort of absorb those things that I hear in these groups and spend time with the board and with the executive director and say, this is what I'm hearing over and over and over. Are there things we can do to meet those needs? One of the biggest ones that came up very early on was, I lost my wife a year ago. I'm lonely. I'm lost. We even heard from a gentleman who was very open. He said, my wife took care of everything in the house. I earned a living. I don't know how the washer works. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do this or that or the other. I am really lost. So out of conversations like that have come a lot of opportunities for people to get together, share their needs, share some of the solutions they found. We've started grief groups in OWLS Club. We have opportunity for games. We do pickleball. We do euchre. Euchre is a totally wild thing, I think. I mean, they are rabid gamers. And they're there a half hour before euchre starts. And sometimes I think we have to throw them out so we can turn the lights off. But they enjoy each other's company. So that's the whole purpose. So do you get the idea that OWLS Club is a secular, not-for-profit? We meet in a church facility, but we are not connected with the church. They've been kind enough to allow us to use space that they weren't using. We pay them a lease now. We didn't the first year, but it's been great for us because we haven't had to absorb the cost of building or renting a space. So let us get our feet on the ground. What can an organization like OWLS Club, I'm going to open it up to questions here in just a minute, but one of the things I'd like you to think about is ideas for this organization, OWLS Club, that you see in your own life, in your neighborhood, in your friends, in this group. How can OWLS Club meet needs? How much are each of us looking, deeply looking for needs like that? We found out in OWLS Club that the needs are there. They're not always very obvious. We have to be very aware of those needs. So I'd be happy to try to answer any questions. Now, bear in mind, because of last week, I was here as a visitor last week and was very deeply moved by the pastor who spoke. I'm not a pastor. This is not a sermon, but I was really impressed with her presence here. So that gives me an idea of what kind of organization you are. And look forward to any suggestions or questions you have.
Well, mine isn't a suggestion, but I had mentioned this to you earlier. We're from South Bend. What is the difference between Forever Learning and OWL Club?
I think it's the sponsorship. I don't know who Forever Learning is. I think it was originally part of Notre Dame. Kathy?
I'll jump in.
Okay,
I think one of the primary.
louder.
One of the primary differences between OWLS Club and Forever Learning is profit. Forever Learning OWLS Club is a non-for-profit organization, and almost all of our activities are offered at no cost to the participants. If there is a cost to an activity, it's a very minimal cost. For example, I taught a painting class in December, and the cost for it was $2, and that covered the cost of the canvas and the paint that I purchased for it. But numerous activities are there for people at no charge. And Forever Learning, they're mostly just the classes, and there's a fee for all of them. OWLS, no fee or very, very minimal fee.
Yeah, our schedule shows several classes in any given week sponsored by Forever Learning, but there's a small fee.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say, that OWLS includes a lot of social activities that Forever Learning, I don't think. It's mainly class-based. Do you know, is this unique to Elkhart? Are there other organizations like this throughout the country that you know of?
That's an interesting question. If you're a Google person and go online and Google OWLS Club, you'll find dozens of them. Some of them are similar to ours. Others are bars with the name OWLS Club. So OWLS Club is a fairly common name. The thing that's different about OWLS Club Elkhart is it's self-supporting. Michigan has senior club opportunities, and they are partially supported, or can be partially supported, by the state. The state makes grants to Michigan senior centers. Indiana does not do that. So starting a group like this with an ambitious goal is not a small task. And there was a thought early on that this might be expanded to other communities, this particular format. And I think eventually it will be. It's too valuable not to take to other locations. You asked me about South Bend. We haven't reached out to South Bend. We don't have all of our ducks in a row in Elkhart yet. We're still growing. We're still learning. Were we to take that somewhere else right now, it would be a real challenge. We have one full-time employee. We have 4 or 5 part-time employees. We also contract out some work. This is a newsletter that we publish once a month. I was supposed to bring some today, and I didn't. But I will make sure that Steve gets some and makes them available next week. But this is done by an outside contractor for us. We just don't have the facilities to do this. But these things are necessary. Sure.
Speaking of members, are there dues, and is that how you support yourself?
No, it's free. It will, I told Steve I have to be careful about what I say. I was going to say it will always be free. I shouldn't say that. That's not my choice. But the intention is that it will also always be free. The only reason you have a membership is so that we know what your interests are. We have your address. We have your email. We can contact you. And we also have a fairly sophisticated tracking system. When you go into OWLS Club in the morning, I don't have one with me, but we have little barcode cards. You know, the card. Yeah. Each member has a card like this. It has the owl on the back. It has a barcode. You scan that into a computer at the front desk. That computer logs your entry. It also asks you why you're there. And on the screen will be all of the options offered that day. And you touch one, and then that helps us know how our facilities are being used. It helps us track. That's important for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is to go to an organization like the Elkhart County Community Foundation and say, these are our numbers. We're not blowing smoke when we tell you what we're doing. So that opportunity will come up again to go to other philanthropic organizations. And we'll have that data. It also helps us when we're sharing with other local groups. We can say, these are the things. We have a class going on that's been going on for almost 2 years. Started about the American Constitution, the U.S. Constitution. It was started by Frank Martin, one of our founders, to prepare for the 2024 election, to make sure that our members were well informed. There was so much interest in that class that it's goes on to this day. One of the leaders is sitting back here, kind of hunched down and not trying to be obvious, but Dave, who's joined you several of the last weeks, is very involved in putting that class on a weekly basis. That class consists of a video done by a professional, usually a college professor or somebody with similar knowledge and credentials. They do a half-hour presentation, which is usually part of a series. The series may go on for 8, 10, 12 weeks. We've done the Founding Fathers, we've done the U.S. Constitution, we've done all the way up until last week, maybe, I don't know. But it's an opportunity, and there are 25, 30 people in that class every week. And it's adding to their knowledge about our society and our government. So there are other opportunities for that same type of learning format. We have a lady who's doing a series of travel logs, and those are very interesting. So those opportunities the biggest problem we have is finding volunteers to sometimes do all the work involved in presenting these.
Okay, 2 more questions.
I know a lot of the kinds of courses, classes you have, including the painting, as Carrie mentioned, Kathy mentioned, Steve's Circles of Trust, mentioned the Constitution, the Travelogue. I know there are many, many other classes you have, like the brain, I think there's yoga.
Yep.
Could you mention some of the other different classes that you have?
I would if I could remember them all.
Pilates and yoga in the evenings, and 2 mornings a week they have a chair cardio, which is very good, and that's, I can't think of her last name, but she's worked at the Y for years and years, her first name is Vicky. Cardio drumming. Pardon me? Cardio drumming? Yes, cardio drumming. Line dancing? Line dancing.
Joe Collins, who was here about 3 or 4 weeks ago, he's now doing the heartbeat drumming class. It's different. He's doing that now.
We did some beginning knitting, at one point. And starting again? There's different, there's different, every month, like, there might be a different craft class. There's stamp making, there's,
We've done, we still have a continuing grief group that meets once a month. A very informal grief group with no curriculum. It's not faith-based. There are a lot of programs in churches that are faith-based. We elected not to do a faith-based program. We just sit and talk about people's issues with grief. I led a group for several weeks called The Complete Guide to the Bible. That was something that required some conversation with our board about whether we wanted to get into issues that dealt with faith. We had originally said, no, we don't want to do that, but there was a need for it. And this class was non-denominational. It doesn't study scripture. It's a study of a book called The Complete Guide to the Bible, which is really a study guide. So it helps familiarize. I have a learning disability. I can't study the Bible. I have ADD. I've tried for years and years to study the Bible. I can't do it. But I can study this book, which presents things in a much more modern format. There's drawings, there's pictures, there's paintings, everything else. But there are things like that. There are opportunities for that. So it needs a wide range of needs. Steve?
One more question, if there is one. Okay.
Are all of your speakers agreed? They don't get paid?
Oh, no.
And all of the people that run, that they have a program?
It's all volunteer.
It's an interest that they have and they or something they know how to do.
Usually, it's people that come to the executive director and say, I would like to lead a class on such and such. So they didn't volunteer to lead, they volunteered the idea. So it's really developed from within.
Some guests, either the club will come up with some money with some people in the club to pay for a speaker if they have a special interest.
We have one more.
One more question.
Yeah, don't cut me off.
It's not a question, it's a comment. I think OWLS is fantastic and I belong.
You should come up.
Doesn't matter. But I don't drive. And the class I have taken there, I've talked to other people who don't come because they don't drive. And this is a big problem in Elkhart. I don't have a solution for it, but I think a lot of those 900 other people may have transportation problems.
We had a lady came up to me Friday night at the chili cook-off. She's made 100 phone calls the last 6 weeks to OWLS club members who haven't been attending regularly. That was the biggest issue, especially in bad weather. We have people who want to come, aren't comfortable driving in bad weather, or don't have transportation. I told her I would make sure that that came up in our next advisory committee meeting, but I don't see a simple solution. But it's something we can work on. Yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
This is a song we learned a few weeks ago. I mentioned Joe Collins when he was here. We're going to sing it. Marva's going to play it all the way through. Then we'll sing it twice as our ending song. Stay standing for the benediction, and then you can sit and listen to Marva's post. Stand and sing if you're willing and able. 4:14. Hear these words in benediction. Beauty is before me and beauty behind me. Above me and below me hovers the beautiful. I am surrounded by it. I am immersed in it. In my youth I am aware of it, and in old age I shall walk quietly the beautiful trail. In beauty it is begun, in beauty it is ended. From the Navajo Indian tribes of North America. You may be seated.